XRP is all the talk these days, and rightfully so, with some fantastic things that have been going on over in the US recently. We have seen some interesting moves in terms of price action. In this video though, we're going to be talking about the macro level. We're going to be talking about the potential in the future for XRP and whether or not XRP could 100x. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into this video. So first off, I think it's important to note that this is a pre-recording. I've recorded this a few days ahead of time, simply because I'm away this weekend. Now, the current price action shouldn't have an impact on this analysis, and obviously, you know, this is a macro view of where I think things are going several months to years ahead of time. So hopefully that is not going to be an issue on this, and everything in this video still stands. Let me know in the comments below if anything major has changed, of course. So let's jump down to the charts, right? So 100x is a pretty big deal, specifically for many of these altcoins, right? Everyone's looking for that next 100x altcoin. How do you 100x your money? Put $1,000 in, get $100,000 out, right? And you know, you want to do this in the safest possible way, right? You want to avoid the meme coins where, you know, there's no utility, first in, first out, and the people who are left holding the shit coins at the end of the day are the ones that are suffering, right? So you want to do it in the safest possible way. And so you look at the top 10, you look at the top 50, you look at the top 100 projects, and you think, okay, these got to be relatively safe, they're high liquidity, and so forth, right? And so XRP, can it 100x, is kind of a question that's kind of come up a couple of times. And so I thought to myself, well, let's do a video on it. Let's analyze the market structures and let's see whether we think there's a 100x potential here. Now, we're not going to look at this through the lens of a moon boy where $10,000 XRP, we're going for 589 and we're going to go to $2,000, $1,000 XRP. We're not going to do any of that, right? That's just not realistic, right? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the market for XRP through market structure, and given, you know, everything that's kind of going on with the US and the SEC and XRP not being a security, and whether or not these are going to have enough drive behind them to kind of push price upwards. Now, as I said earlier, this is going to be a video that's going to look many months into the future as to kind of, you know, what's going to play out in 2024 potentially, maybe even into 2025. I don't know how to time that market. It's going to take a long time to play out, okay? So let's go ahead and break it into this video. So for the most part, we have a low point down here of March 2020. Now, I appreciate that many people who are watching this video, maybe you weren't around in crypto during this time. Chris and myself were. It was fantastic to buy up so many cryptocurrencies at stupidly low prices, and we were heavily into XRP in the very early days of our channel. We were buying pretty much most of this for the flare snapshot, and then of course 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓𝗪's lawsuit dragged us into a, you know, $13 billion damage down here, and Chris and myself were buying this as well, right? We were just buying up the dip because it just made sense to do so. We then saw price move up quite rapidly up to $1.96.69, but this was incredibly stunted due to the lawsuit with the SEC and courtesy of 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 on his last day in office, right? And we only saw 1,841% less than Bitcoin during that time period, and that is awful to say because Bitcoin isn't exactly a good performer. So we know that XRP has been hindered by the lawsuit, and basically the damage done to retail investors by the SEC is just astronomical. Why I think that you know, these people like 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 and Gary Gensler should be put in prison for crimes against the public, right? They're in public office, they're in public roles, and yet they have done us a disservice. They should be punished accordingly. That obviously is political, and I'm not going to get into that. But for the most part here, what do we see from our market structure? Well, we know that we were in a three-wave pattern to the upside here. There was nothing more to it than that. It's very corrective. The entire market here is very corrective, and it has been corrective even on this way to the downside. Okay, so nothing amazing is going to kind of give us intel around that kind of move there. However, during this move to the downside, we found good support down here at 28.72. And this was an area of interest to me personally. Okay, if we come into this for a second, you can see right in this little range down here between 28.74 and 32.2 was an area of supply, of demand, right? We know it's a demand area because we can see all of these wicks coming in here, and basically price comes in and comes right back out again. That's why you have the wicks, right? And so this was an area of support or an area of demand. I looked at this as an area of demand. So what do? I go ahead and place my buy order, my limited buy order at 30 cent, and by some miracle it wicked down to 30 cent and I got my order filled. So there we can see that that's a really good, nice low point, and it looks for the most part it's going to hold temporarily, right? So this is a good place to kind of be. We've seen some very significant gains since down here. So me personally, I have seen up here a 216% move, and we're still currently in profit at the point of recording this video at the price action being 74 cent, 149%, right? Very, very good. But does that mean that the bear market low is in, right? At the moment, our current bear market low is 28.72. And although we've had this move to the upside here, it isn't actually anything too much. It is aligned to my thoughts. We had a three-wave pattern where we were talking about moving up to 93.76, and we wicked up to 93.8. So this area here actually aligns very nicely to being a reversal location. Now, this may have changed over the last couple of days. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not in the future. I'm just recording this video for the macro point. My point here, though, is that I would expect further downside at this point. Now, it could be that the bottom is in during the June 2022 lows. And if that is the case, there's a few reasons why that might be. One, we can see down here that we have completely broken out of this move, and we have come up to this same area of resistance just over here. Let me show you right inside here. Okay, coming in at 93. We broke above this area. This means that this is a new higher high. Okay, so we broke above this area. This is a key thing because it does mean that that bear market low may be in, right? And not to say that we can't retrace, because I would expect a healthy correction, but it doesn't have to come down and break lower than 28.72. So that means that that might be the bear market low point, right? Meaning that if we were to look for 100x, we have to use that low point as our anchor for that 100x potential. That means $28. Do we think XRP can rally up to $28? Now, for the most part, and obviously we can't look at it through a kind of like a moon boy kind of lens where, oh, well, it's going to $589, you know, we're going to the moon, right? It's not like that, right? That's very unlikely. And I know people are going to say all the money in the world. Well, all the money of the world isn't required to go into XRP. In fact, that would be very ridiculous to think of such a thing to happen. For the most part, banks just need a highly liquid market, right? And so for XRP to be used in the way that these moon boys kind of claim it to be used, then you need a highly liquid market, which basically means a stable market, which basically means price has to be stable, not volatile, in order to have people buying and selling at ease, right? You can't have volatility under those circumstances. Highly liquid means very little volatility, right? The more liquid a market is, the more stable the market is. So understanding that if all the money in the world were to go into XRP, it basically becomes very stable. And it's very unlikely that's going to be the case because it's not required. All you need is a highly liquid market where there's lots of buying and lots of selling and price is stable. So under those premises, we know that the idea of 10,000 and 589 is very unlikely. Not impossible, but very unlikely. But what do we see? Well, we do see a potential move upwards here towards the 550 and 1121. This is an area that we can see and acknowledge, if I just bring this in so you guys can see it clearly, a three-wave pattern, right? So we'd have three waves here, okay? We have our corrective pattern here, and then we look for this to be a giant corrective pattern in itself, targeting out 550. Okay, that's a new all-time high, but it's not amazing, right? It's not brilliant. It's not the best all-time high in the world. It's not going to give you those fantastic gains. In fact, 1,841. So the question becomes, are we going to go ahead and do something different, right? Obviously, there's no structure here to kind of indicate this to us. So we have to kind of use a little bit of imagination. Are we going to be seeing, a significant surge outside of the structure that's currently mapped? Are we going to start a new structure that is incredibly impulsive and is very much a trendsetter? And it's yet to be seen, essentially. So at the point of recording this video, it just doesn't look to be the case. It looks like we are probably going to be targeting out the 550 to 1121, and that will be that. And we'll see what that might mean for the future afterwards. But as I look at this through the structure that we see today, it doesn't give us the 100x potential that maybe we would like to see for XRP. I think it's definitely not going to be the best performer, but I think it's going to do incredibly well. Now, of course, I could be wrong, because there are some fundamental things outside of this technical chart that you see here that could basically do that, right? But it's speculation. We have no anchor points, we have no structures, we have nothing to kind of indicate to us that there's a target of $50 for XRP, for example, right? So we have to be cautious. That's kind of the word I'm probably going to use a fair bit here, is that it's great to kind of see the idea of XRP going to these high numbers, but for the most part, you don't want to end up like people did back in 2018, left holding their bags all the way through 2017, all the way through 2019's crash, all the way through the highs of 2021, expecting things to just moon and to go to these crazy high numbers, and still we are here where we are today, where we saw a low of 28 cents again. Price action hasn't exactly been very impressive. And so for the most part, yes, we have hope. We have the ideas that, maybe the banking sector, maybe Fed now, maybe whatever, right, is going to do it. And these are all just maybes. Based on the facts that we have in front of us today, XRP is not a security. It pumped up 100%. Okay, when we see the case completely dismissed and Ripple win, maybe we'll see a few hundred more percent. But it's hard to move the price of XRP. It requires a lot of money and a lot of demand. Right now, we're not really seeing those. So maybe in the future that will change. But for now, it looks like we are not going to be getting a 100x XRP. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. This isn't to be a down on XRP. I hold XRP. I think it's fantastic. I think the use cases are there. I think all the relationships with the banking sector is great, but we just haven't seen anything materialize as of yet. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you found it useful, informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and guys, don't forget to join us down in the Discord server, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.